Welcome to the Vikings Now. I am your host, Patrick Siepman. I'm going to give you guys my post-game recap and reactions and a couple of notes that I had following the Minnesota Vikings 17-7 loss against the San Francisco 49ers in Week 2 of the NFL preseason. Overall, I thought it was a pretty uneventful game. Not a ton of splash plays. There was a lot of penalties, a lot of drops on both sides. Kellen Mond ended up struggling early, and then also I'm going to be breaking down the Andrew Booth injury. So in the second quarter of the game, Andrew Booth, he left with a lower leg injury. It looked to be his right leg. He was helped off by a couple of trainers, and he could barely put any pressure on it. Here's a tweet from our good guy, Paul. Andrew Booth Jr.'s injury may be nothing, but his injury history is certainly something. He had a torn patella tendon in his right knee before, knee tendonitis dating all the way back to high school, and a quad strain and a double hernia surgery during the pre-draft process. So the Andrew Booth Jr. injury, something not to kind of freak out about right now, even though it did look really bad when he was limping off the field. Nothing too serious, but I think his injury history is something with a combination of this current injury, definitely something to keep your eyes out on. Now, my first note from the San Francisco 49ers Minnesota Vikings game, Kellen Mond, he got the start today. This was kind of a big moment for Vikings fans following last week's game against the Raiders. Mond looked fantastic, and I thought he really deserved to get that start at quarterback 2. But against the 49ers, he was pretty underwhelming. He was extremely inconsistent, 10 for 20, 82 yards, and 2 interceptions. Now, for my kind of breakdown of Kellen Mond, inconsistencies are clear in his game. First drive of the game, he had a 3rd and 6 play. He was scrambling, kind of running for his life, and ended up making a beautiful throw to pick up the first down. But then, literally 2 plays later, he had probably one of the worst interceptions he may have thrown in his career. Just a wobbly football coming out. The thing with Kellen Mond, I think he sometimes can flash that potential that we all love and see in him, but then again, he'll still revert back to, I guess, what he truly is, and that's a very inconsistent quarterback, but he is still in year 2, still going through it. But anyways, the goal on this video I had was 150 likes, and I know the Vikings faithful and Vikings fans are going to go out and show their purple pride and like this video. I set the goal at 150. If you're looking at this video right now and it could have 5 likes, 100 likes, 150 likes, go meet that goal, and if we're already at the goal, let's go crush it. I set the goal as 150 likes on this video. I think we can do it. It's our best way to get these videos out to more and more Vikings fans. Now, this is going to be a fun note for my game because Kene Nwangwu versus Alexander Mattison. Kene Nwangwu, I think he is really going to challenge Mattison for the running back 2 position. And if we're looking at the RB stats from the game against the Niners, overall, the Vikings didn't dominate running the ball like they did last week against the Las Vegas Raiders. And that could just be because 49ers, they have a naturally better front 7 than the Las Vegas Raiders. But Ty Chandler, 5 carries, 19 yards, and a touchdown. Kene Nwangwu, limited reps today. They kind of treated him kind of as a starter hybrid, which I kind of liked it. He only had 2 carries, 4 yards. Bryant Koback, 3 carries, 17 yards. And then our boy Madison, 3 carries, 17 yards. Now, why I think Madison could be overtaking, or why I think Kene could be overtaking Madison. Voice of the Minnesota Vikings, Paul Allen, shout out to him. He does a fantastic job, one of my favorite people in NFL media in general. He came out in the offseason and said he could see Kene Nwangwu overtaking Madison for running back 2. And personally for me, if you look at the Kevin O'Connell offense, having a running back 2 who is elite in the passing game, I think is a more advantage than what Madison could be. But speaking of Madison, I think Alexander Mattison, for me personally, it bothers me that I feel like some Vikings fans are forgetting really how good he is. He had in a great run. It was his 12-yard run today. He bumped it to the outside, had this really sweet jump back cut, and I still look great. But I do think there is going to be a serious battle for the running back 2 position. Kene Nwangwu, he offers that kind of elusive speed and that pass-catching ability out of the backfield. And then you have Alexander Mattison, who is this bulldozer type of running back that is kind of the thunder and lightning to Dalvin Cook. I just think Vikings fans, I think maybe we were overreacting and jumping the gun on preseason, but I can't ignore the fact that Kene Nwangwu may be a better fit for this offense, but I think there's a serious battle for running back 2 on the Vikings depth chart. Now, overall, if we're looking at the offense in this game as a whole, it was just inconsistent. And we mentioned Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion off the top, but the Vikings offense today, it just could never get into a rhythm. And the thing is with the Vikings offense, if you're looking at them from just who they were playing today, yes, it was a lot of third and fourth stringers, but they still never got into a rhythm the entire game. Sean Mannion and Kellen Mond were struggling all night long, just missing basic throws. And then the drops, man. The drops tonight were brutal. The Niners were dropping the ball all night long. But if you have drops with a combination of penalties, that's why you're going to score 7 points. And plus, if you add on top of that your quarterbacks really didn't help you out that much during the entire game. I mean, Kellen Mond, he had his flashes. Sean Mannion, we've been saying it all year. We know what Sean Mannion is. They didn't really give you your receivers. They didn't throw any receivers open. But with the drops, penalties, that's what you're going to get. But get down in the comments down below. I would love to know what you guys thought of the performance for the Vikings this week. If I had to set it, I would probably say C- to a C. I really wasn't all that impressed. There's no real, new takeaways from this game. There's a lot of guys kind of played up to their expectations or even played below it. But if you guys do want to go drop some money before this NFL season begins, head over to BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. And if you use the promo code CHAT125, you get a 125% deposit bonus. That means if you put $100 in your account, you'll get $125 to just spend freely on BetUS. It's pretty sweet. I know I'm going to be getting in there. And if we take a look at the 2022 NFC North odds, I'm going to be throwing $10 on the Vikings at plus 250. Pretty much what that means, if you spend $10 and the Vikings do end up winning the NFC North this year, you would get $25. You see the Lions at plus 900, Bears at plus 1,600. Really doubt that would happen. Lions could be a sneaky pick, though, at plus 900. You bet $10, you would win 90. I know I'm not betting on those dirty Green Bay Packers. But now get into my next note. T.Y. McGill Jr. If you guys don't know who this is, he may be a kind of under-the-radar player for the Minnesota Vikings, fan base. He looked great today. He was really the one focal point from the defense in today's game. He had 1.5 sacks, 5 tackles, and he actually got up to 4 quarterback hits. T.Y. McGill, if you guys don't know him, he's actually been on 8 NFL teams in his entire NFL career. He's been kind of a journeyman for during his whole career lifespan in the NFL, and I think this new defense could be a new spark of life for him. And if you're looking at this depth chart, he is still kind of facing an uphill battle to making the team. I think James Lynch, he'll be in there. Tyman, he'll be in there. But those big three you see on the board right now, Dalvin Tomlinson, Harrison Phillips, and Armon Watts, they're all locks to make the team. Now, my final note, Kevin O'Connell, he's not taking any risk this preseason. The Vikings, and count them, they had 27 inactives today. The 49ers, they had 27 inactives today, combining for 54 total inactives, which is probably why the play in today's game was very sloppy. If you look at who didn't play today, Cameron Dantzler, Dalvin Cook, Patrick Peterson, Kirk Cousins, KJ Osborne, Jefferson, Thielen, Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, and the list goes on. Pretty much anybody with a notable name on the Vikings didn't see the field at all. And for me, this doesn't bother me at all. I know Vikings fans, we kind of had that itch. We want to see Justin Jefferson. We want to see Adam Thielen. We want to see Dalvin Cook. And trust me, I do too more than anybody. But I don't. Personally, this doesn't bother me because I know the risk will reward in this situation. I mean, God forbid if Jefferson would go out there and something would happen to him, or Kirk Cousins would go out there and something would happen to him, the season wouldn't necessarily be over if one of those two were getting injured. So this doesn't bother me at all. He's kind of taking a page out of the Sean McVay playbook. Sean McVay, he didn't play Stafford at all last season. He didn't get a single snap in the preseason. And first game, he had 3 touchdowns, 156 passer rating against the Bears. So yes, you may be thinking Vikings aren't playing any starters. They may come out slow. But normally for the Rams in the past, it hasn't been an issue. But if you guys made it all the way to the end of today's video, I want to see the skulls down in the comments section. Give me a skull. I would love to see just spammed up in there. I think it was 3 videos ago now. I had somebody comment skull 25 times. Because somebody beat it. If you made it to the end of the video, you're a real one. Give me a skull down below. And then also follow me on Twitter, Pat Siepman NFL. I'll be tweeting about the Vikings, tweeting about the NFL throughout the entire season. Best way to kind of follow me and see what I'm up to and what are my thoughts really in game about the Minnesota Vikings. Go check me out. Give me a follow. I'll be following all you guys back. Love chopping it up, talking Vikes with you. Anyways, see you guys next time. Let's go Vikes.